What's up? This is Rings. Sitting out here just chilling. We got Caribbean festival and jazz festivals going on in Atlanta, so things are a little slow at the lounge. Thought I'd come out, see what kind of conversations we can have. I will start out. There was a comment on one of my on YouTube, and I implore everybody to go join my YouTube channel. It's Lorenzo Reed, LaRenzoReid. I did a video where I talked about there's no proof in the Bible, and I was talking about something. I don't remember what exactly I was talking about for historical event. Oh, I was talking about Exodus, and there's actually no proof that Exodus ever happened. So I had this one comment by this lady, and she was saying that I should go look up Jabal al-Lawa, or you can pronounce it Jabal al-Lawa, which means the mountain of the law. And she was saying that they found the mountain of the law where Moses supposedly got the Ten Commandments from Yeshua. I mean, not Yeshua, but from God, from Jehovah. So I remember researching that a long time ago when they first said that they had found it. But even in the finding of it, those who wrote about it, there's like 3 authors, I forgot their names. And those 3 authors were talking about how they found Mount Sinai. But they say they believe they found Mount Sinai, meaning that there's no proof that it's Mount Sinai. They just believe that it's Mount Sinai by descriptions in the Bible. And like I always tell people, if you don't know the history of the author, you don't know what you're reading. KRS One said that like in the 80s, and that stuck with me my whole life. So I went and researched the authors, and the authors, one dude started his own archaeological organization, but he's not an archaeologist. Now, understand, anybody can go find something, and they may find something that's real. But if peer review does not back it up, it's just not real. You got to have peer review. And so the Israeli Archaeological Society, the Arab, all these people, all these societies that are filled with actual archaeologists, peer reviewed their work as far as it being Mount Sinai, and none of them agreed. No organization, no true archaeologist agreed, because there's no archaeological evidence that Jabal al-Lawa is Mount Sinai. But here's the thing. The casual believer, which is most people, simply because somebody who they think is reputable. I mean, one of the guys is like a medical surgeon who claims that he's found Mount Sinai, that Jabal al-Lawa is Mount Sinai. And I'm probably sounding the last part of it wrong. But these guys they're Indiana Jones without the education, without doing the actual research, without following archaeological practices, which would be to find pottery, to find literature, to find statues or some type of civilization. You would imagine this, if you got about 2 million people who just walked out of Egypt, and they are in a base camp around this mountain. There's no pottery? Are you serious? There's no pottery? There's no archaeological evidence that these people were there? 2 million people. And you have 0 evidence. You just say you believe that that's the mountain. That's like, I live in Stone Mountain, Georgia. That's like me looking at Stone Mountain over there and saying that, well, Stone Mountain's there, so I believe that's where the aliens came down. There's no burn marks. There's no pottery. There's no technology there. There's no statues there. There's nothing to indicate that a group of people were there. So at this mountain, there's no evidence of Israelites, of Hebrew people who left Egypt during around what was that? I think that would be around 1400. Yeah, 1400 BCE. Were there. All the cities they claim to have destroyed, none of those cities have been destroyed. None of those cities, no evidence of that is there. In the entire Sinai Peninsula, there's no evidence of any of these things. So It just shows the casual believer. What up, man? Um, the casual believer will just believe anything. They'll believe anything to support their narrative. And when you do that, and that happens on all sides. I've had people who just casually believe whatever I tell them, and I tell them go research everything. Now I research things before I talk about it. I played a little mind game on some people like 7, 8 years ago, where I said something purposely wrong, and I wanted to see if people were actually researching it. And then I came back with another video like 2 weeks later saying, "Hey, I said this. I said this. It's completely wrong. It's a myth. It's a made up bullshit. But none of you called me on it, which shows me that none of you are actually going to do the research after I say something. I don't like that, because you need to do your own research. You need to vet everything. And these people are just believing that this is Mount Sinai, and they're just going on along with it, no matter the fact that there's zero evidence that that place is Mount Sinai. I would believe in Middle Eastern over someone with sub-Saharan ancestry any day. Any day is just science. Now I would believe if you were telling me history about West Africa, but you don't claim the smiley face. I ain't got my reading glasses on, so I don't really understand what you're saying there. But you would believe a Middle Eastern before you believe somebody's sub-Saharan ancestry? That's interesting. Because here's the thing about modern day. I'm not sub-Saharan, I'm not Middle Eastern, but I can go do research. I can go and in my latter part of my life, one of the things that I intend on doing is being an amateur archaeologist and actually getting in the dirt. And, I've taken some vacation. I take vacation time, and going on vacation with me is not always fun. I don't go to beaches and stuff all the time. I do like those things, but I will go to an archaeological dig and volunteer my time. But the thing about it is, if research is research, but you got to do the right kind of research. We can't just. Back in the day, people just wrote and said what they thought. They didn't write what they found. Like if you go to Italy right now, they'll say these are the bone fragments of the Magi who visited Jesus in Bethlehem. There's zero evidence that those are the Magi. They just said it, and people just believe it, and they just accept it. You can't do DNA. I mean, the DNA, if you did do DNA, all you can figure out is, are they Iranian? Because these guys would have came from Iran. So are they from that area? But that still doesn't prove that those were the 3 guys who went to see that. The original tombs didn't have anything that said that these were those 3 guys. And they wouldn't have had those tombs because those guys left and went back to Iran. They were more than likely Zoroastrians as well. You're obsessed with the Arab culture, but that's not your space, unfortunately. I'm not obsessed with the Arab culture. I don't know what gives you that idea. What up, sir?
Doing all right?
Yep. Oh, all y'all gonna want to start showing up as soon as I start shooting the live. That's what we doing today?
Man, I didn't know you were shooting live.
Man, go back to the Caribbean Festival. Shit, I wish I was at the Caribbean Festival. What you smoking? So, Cigar Live. It's the Oliva V. If you was on my Smoking Phoenix TikTok, then you know that this is a Nicaraguan stick, and you know how much and you would know how much I like my Nicaraguans. I don't understand where you would think I'm obsessed with the Arab culture. I'm not obsessed with the Arab culture. I'm not obsessed with anybody's culture. You know what I'm obsessed with? I'm obsessed with divine truth. That's it. That's all I've ever been obsessed with. Divine truth. Every religion has some divine truth within it, but most of them missed it. They miss it. Yeah, this Oliva is a good one. I'm going to smoke the, later on today, I'll be smoking the LFD cabinet number 6. I don't know if you ever smoked that LFD cabinet number 6, but that notes of cocoa and coffee and earth. Woo, that thing. And that Ligero leaf that's in it, it's a good damn stick. But I always want people to go do actual research on stuff. I know people have been sending me, you need to read this book and read that book. And I've read so many books. And I was thinking about that earlier today. Like, I read ISIS paper back in 1991. So I don't really remember most of it. But what I do understand is that from what I read then, it led me to something else, which led me to something else, and then you build on it. And that's how all your reading should be. And all your research should be that way. Don't get stuck on one person. Like, I love Dr. Henry Clark, but I don't get stuck on Dr. Henry Clark. You know, I read his material, I digest it, I can compare it to everything else I've read, and I take from it what makes sense and what matches. I do that when I read the Bible, the Dhammapada, the Vedics, the Upanishad, the Tao. It doesn't really matter. You see that joker right there? The kind of people I got to deal with on a daily basis. And that joker right there? He don't like being on film. That's why I showed him. But truth is, I get, I did a video earlier where I talked about how like me and these three guys, we have unity, right? But we all don't have the same religion. One guy's Christian, one guy's kind of Gnostic Christian. And shit, I'm just universal. I just look for divine truth in things. I look at nature, see how a tree grows, and I can find divine truth just looking at how the tree grows. How the bees and pollinate with the plants and with the flowers and pollinate and cross-pollination. And it gives me an understanding of your third eye, how all things are connected. You take away the bees and shit, foliage would die. But people get stuck on one thing. And usually it's very, very casual. And it's based on the narrative that they grew up believing, that they were told to believe. So they don't know how to think. And that's the problem. Most people don't know how to think for themselves. We get taught something as children. And then everything else we try to force to reflect whatever we got taught as children. Or you go through some traumatic situation where, oftentimes a person goes to jail because they've been acting a fool. They've been claiming Christianity or Islam before they went to jail. Then they get to jail and all of a sudden they have an awakening. But that awakening comes through somebody who's Christian or Muslim or whatever, and then all of a sudden they're hard on that. And that's all they can understand. Now I'm glad that they found something that helped them. But at the end of the day, that doesn't make what they believe right for everybody. And if we're ever going to have some unity, some black unity, you got to put that religion down. But it ain't going to work for everybody. All we need is a common goal. We live in this country, in America. The common goal for every black person should be to be able to get up, enjoy their family, go to work, come back home safely, enjoy their family, enjoy their lives, and be safe. Right. You can learn so much. That's how it should be. You can learn so much by opening your mind and learning. Right. And that's all we should do. If you got a closed mind, like being in the Marine Corps and always being in commands where we have to study military history, General Patton says something to the effect that if you have a plan that cannot be adjusted, then your plan is doomed to fail. Your mind is the same way. If your mind is so stuck on being a Hebrew Israelite, being a Christian, being a Muslim, being a Hindu, Buddhist, whatever, you can never grow. You can never grow. You're only going to grow as far as that religion allows you to grow. And most of them aren't designed for you to grow. divine is so much more than the box we put him in. Exactly. Like, if you don't read nothing out of the Tao, read the first verse of the Tao. That the moment you give the way a name, it is no longer the way. The moment you put the way inside of a book, it is no longer the way. The way is the universal creator. The moment you categorize it, the moment you say it's Jesus, it's Allah, it's Krishna, it's no longer the way. It's no longer that. Now you shrunk the creator into whatever box that you put it in. See, if you say God is Jesus, what is it? Jesus, the Holy Spirit, and the Father. If you say that God is that, then God can be no more than what that book says he is. You know, he can be no more than a jealous, angry God. He could be no more than a God that functions on our linear timeline and says that for now it's the law and now it's grace. But they can't even agree upon that. I'm gonna stop saying y'all because y'all ain't who I'm talking to as far as that part. But they say that, so it can never be that. So that means that there could be another time that this creator changes its mode of operation, which will take away from it being consistent. Where's the consistency of that? You have this angry, jealous God that punishes the hell out of people. And he said, you know what, let me die. Let me go and let me do it. What this person said. Let me go. Hey, adultery is wrong. In the Old Testament, adultery is wrong. So let me go into this married woman or this betrothed woman. Let me impregnate her, which is committing adultery, so that I can be born out of her. You ever think about that? Think about that for a second. This guy goes into another man's betrothed wife. Now, according to the Old Testament, if a woman who is betrothed to a man is raped, then the rapist is to be stoned, is to be killed. So God goes into a woman that's betrothed to a man. He decides he's having sex with her. She didn't decide that. So that's rape. But the man is supposed to overlook it. So that's rape. But the man is supposed to overlook this. And this child is supposed to be the Messiah. Yeshua came out of a rape victim, basically. I know people don't like that. They're going to be very upset about that one. But essentially, that's what happened. How is that right? How do you quantify that? But it's a common story. Zeus went into a woman, posing as a husband, and birthed out Hercules, and birthed out, what's the other dude that he birthed out? Achilles. You know, the Greek story has this a lot. And the people in the Levant would have known these Greek stories from the time that Alexander conquered the Levant. So these stories would have become part of their stories. So when they get ready to write, and that became part of the Roman stories. So when they begin to write these stories, it was commonplace for the people to accept their God would go and impregnate another man's wife or another man's fiance and birth out this heroic child, which Jesus fit the bill, right? Of the heroic child. He fits the bill of Hercules and Achilles because he did exactly what the Greek gods had done. So they're just rehashing old stories. You know what I'm saying? That only causes division. Yeah, it does. Religion is a very divisive thing. It doesn't bring people together. And I sat here and let my cigar go out. I hope this lady Stephanie never sees this video because I always pick on her about she talks too damn much, and her cigar goes out all the time. But we rehash these same stories over and over again. I just need my torch, gentlemen. I know. I didn't know you were sitting in my seat. I'd be kicking your tail, boy. Police chief or not. Ain't nobody scared of you.
name on it.
Look at y'all matching.
He didn't say nothing.
Yo, these jokers in here matching. He got on his orange shoes. He got on his orange shirt. Like a little couple.
I'm glad you feel
But I mean, have y'all ever thought about that? That these same stories of the Greeks and Romans and damn near every other ancient culture is the same story that you put in your Bible, but yet you say that your Bible is correct and theirs is wrong. A guy can go and I can have sex with whoever I want to have sex with. They're just going to accept it. In what world is that right? When does critical thinking come into play? And it really doesn't. I set this down for a second. But when I saw that posted on Facebook the other day, I thought that was so appropriate in thinking. And something I had considered a while back, but I had forgot. You know, because I've been on this journey since I was 9 years old of questioning everything and why it don't make sense, but looking at the culture of that day and why it would make sense. Because that's one of the things you try to do is, why would people of an era accept something? Just like we do today. Why do black people accept the religion of their masters and then try to claim that religion to be of African origin so that it sounds better to them? Oh, you know, Africans had Christianity long before the Europeans, and then the Europeans flipped it because the Ethiopian eunuch took it to Ethiopia, and then the white man changed it and made it their own. Not saying that they didn't change things. Hell, I did a video about Septimus earlier. If you go find all the statues of Septimus, he's a white guy. You find the ancient portraits of Septimus, he's a black guy. So whitewashing happens. But Christianity is not African. Most sub-Saharan Africans, so the Africans in Egypt and Sudan, they had polytheism. Well, they had what white people call polytheism. They believe in the Ogdo, which the Ogdo is one embodiment of the Creator. And then that's split into 4 parts, and each part has a masculine and feminine. And then the cosmic egg was created, and then Ra was born out of the cosmic egg to be the physical embodiment of the Ogdo. So every deity after that is merely an aspect of the Ogdo. You go past the desert sand, and you have Orishas, you had gods of the mountains, gods of the lake, the earth, the fire gods. You had all these different gods. So when was Christianity ever an African religion? It wasn't. It's not the religion of our ancestors. Akhenaten tried to get the people of Egypt to understand one God based on the sun, the Akhten, as a symbol, not as the God, but they killed him for it. So none of these religions were originally African. They're just the most powerful and popular religions of the day. So they try to make it into something that they already kind of like. And they want to make it their own. And they want to give some kind of backdated history to it. Instead of just going back to understand that nature is the original religion. Understanding nature, that's how you understand the universe. Just because they looked up at the sky, they saw it was blue. They look at the ocean, they see it's blue, and they say, oh, that must be water up there. That's what their thoughts. It ain't water. Well, it is water, it's vapor, but it's not water. If it wasn't for sunlight and vapor in the air, that shit up there is black. That's black. It's not blue. No, I missed some statements. Yes, and after going through theological seminary and learning about the Bible and religion, yeah, they always tell you if you go to seminary, you better have your faith strong because you're going to learn some stuff that don't jive with the bullshit they be teaching behind that pulpit. it really made me think and have even more questions than I did in childhood. It should. You start learning how they put this Bible together and put this religion together, and all the politics and bullshit that goes behind it, and the guesswork. It's like scholars today are better than scholars back then. Scholars today actually can go and know how to look for archaeological proof of things. Back then, they didn't do that. Whatever the power structure decided, that's what they decided something was. Yeah, and people do. We accept so many things without critically thinking about it, right? It's like when I talk to somebody who's Catholic, especially, we start talking about Constantine. Constantine was depraved, okay? I was listening to a young lady's video. She was talking about, she reminded me in her video about how Constantine was denied access into the inner mysteries. Because he was denied access to the inner mysteries, he was committing all kinds of atrocities, killing people, burning down temples, all these things. And he did this up until his death. Up until his death. But then later, after he died, the Roman Church rewrote his history. The Jewish religion was rewritten into Christianity because Vespasian used Josephus to begin the rewriting of a more docile version of Judaism that didn't have a militaristic Messiah, so that the Jewish revolts all throughout the Roman Empire would stop. And the Jewish revolts were so strong based on their beliefs that they were able to have the War of the Maccabees that set up a Jewish state inside of the Roman Empire. And he was just learning from history. They did that in 164 BCE. So when he came into power in what we call, 30 BCE, well, yeah, around 30 BCE, he was like, nah, let's rewrite this shit. Let's make it so that these Jewish people become docile, that they look for their Messiah after the fact. It's like Color Purple. When she was out there doing the linen, everything's going to be better in the hereafter. And Oprah Winfrey's character told her, shit, you better go get your heaven now. That's the outlook. You got to look at how they backdate these things, rewrite these things to make it fit into their current narrative of maintaining power and control over people. That's what it's been about the whole time. It's always been about maintaining power and control over people. It's never been about freedom of people. And when you do start to think free, they try to smash your character first. Well, first they try to just debunk everything, make you look foolish. Then they start to smash your character. Then if they can't smash your character, depending upon how powerful you are, then they try to kill you. Beauty of today's world is that there's a whole lot of internet they have to scrub to try to get rid of somebody's message. Back in the day, they could burn your books. They could just, discredit you through other books. And they realized that most people didn't read books anyway. But they write a book counter to yours, trying to show how wrong you are. That way they can discredit, like when, what's my guy? Zechariah Sitchin. When Zechariah Sitchin first wrote Lost Books of Enki and all that, Christianity didn't like that. So a bunch of other authors came out to try to discredit him. Because we always like to say, if you want to hide something from black people, put it in a book. But also, if you want a lie to thrive, put it in a bunch of books. Write book after book after book after book, a landslide of books, discrediting somebody who wrote something that may be true, that takes away from their power. And more people will believe that lie than anything else. Another person said on Facebook, YouTube, that they'll take the belief and writings of millions of people over thousands of years, over 1,000 years, over one dude on a video. Every Sunday, millions, hundreds of thousands of pastors repeat the same bullshit. That doesn't make it true. The Nazi Party repeated the same bullshit and never made any of the things that they were saying true. Truth is the only thing that makes something true. And even that has a little bit of subjectiveness to it. You find some pottery, not pottery, better than that. when you look, I did a video about the pig taboos, where those came from. And in looking at those pig taboos, there was a time where in the 500s, now supposedly the pig taboo was done around 4000 BCE during the time of Noah. That's when the Israelites were supposed to have the pig taboo. But yet, the northern kingdom of Israel were eating pig. Not as much as the Phoenicians, because the Phoenicians brought pigs over to the Levant, but they were eating pigs. How did they figure out that they were eating pigs? By fossilized pig bones that were in agricultural ruins in the northern kingdom of Israel. They would find a northern kingdom of Israel village that was buried, and then they see that they had pigs. They see what kind of bones were there, and that would tell them what kind of animal husbandry the people were doing. It gives them an idea, but we don't know exactly what they was doing with the pig bones. But it gives an idea. The Phoenician villages had tons of pigs. They was eating a lot of pigs. The southern kingdom of Judah didn't. So when Hezekiah and them started not rewriting the Old Testament, but kind of restructuring it a bit, they increased the pig taboos, because the Phoenicians ate pig and they hated the Phoenicians. The Babylonians ate pigs, they hated the Babylonians. So they started writing these things in that format. So that's how it worked. I have to run the popcorn shop and the cigar lounge at the same time. This lady was just going down there. I thought she was going to the popcorn shop. Hold on. You looking for popcorn today?
I am.
All right. No, we'll go down there.
Okay.
I was just doing this little lot. Y'all gonna have to hold on for a minute while I take care of this customer. She was looking for me. Yeah, she was looking for me. I'll get back to your question in just a second. This your first time?
No, been here before.
Well, the door is locked, young lady.
Sorry.
Yeah, I gotta run both of them.
Okay.
Employees don't want to employ. I'll be right back to you guys. So what can I get started for you today?
I have a bunch of kids.
A bunch of kids with a bunch of different things? So what sizes are we doing today?
I just want the smallest for the spicy cheddar.
A small one, spicy cheddar?
Yes. Can I taste the confetti?
No, you cannot taste anything. No, we don't do samples, young lady.
Okay.
I don't know where you think. So confetti is like Skittles.
Okay, like this.
So each color is a different different candy flavor.
Okay.
This batch is orange, blue raspberry, and lemon.
And can I mix this with the strawberry cheesecake?
Yes, and whatever the higher category is, what the price point will be, so that would make it a platinum.
Okay. So
And what size on that one?
Medium.
Medium? All right. So strawberry cheesecake and confetti mixed together.
Mm-hmm.
So you have you're doing some fruity cheesecake. That's all right. And some spicy cheddar. I was shooting a live video, so if I say something crazy, it's because something different, because I'm saying it to him.
Okay.
Some spicy cheddar, y'all. Don't pay me no mind.
And then can I get the white cheddar and is regular. I'm looking for regular caramel.
No, it's right here.
Oh, the white cheddar.
White cheddar and caramel mixed together.
And I will do that in a medium.
And that one's in a medium as well. Confetti. Strawberry cheesecake. Gonna mix some confetti and strawberry cheesecake. You want it all mixed up, right?
Yeah.
All right. Y'all having a good day today?
Baseball.
Baseball. Y'all not going to the jazz festival?
No, we having movie and popcorn.
And you know they had 2 different Caribbean festivals today.
I did hear about some festivals going on. Where's the jazz festival?
Piedmont Park, downtown.
We're actually babysitting for our parents. Trying to figure out what they were going to do, so it takes them to look at this jazz festival.
What movie are y'all watching?
Whatever the kids.
Y'all seen Doctor Strange yet?
Not yet.
It was pretty good. Of course, for me, watching those kind of movies, I delve all into the a lot of the deeper little meanings that they
Right.
throw in there.
Yeah.
Actually, I might do a video about that. Some white cheddar. How old are the kids?
7 and 12, and then I have my godchildren between 14 and 6.
7, 12, and some 6-year-old godchildren.
6 and 14.
6 and 14.
Can't believe it.
I'm a horrible godparent. I am. I send them jokers the loudest stuff I can find.
So, this was at their can we go to that popcorn, please?
And one of them, I'm not the actual godparent. It's just that one of my best friends is his grandson. And just to antagonize him,
Yeah.
I just decided I was going to be the godfather. Because I like getting on his nerves. And they're like Carolina Panther fans. And I'm a Falcons fan.
Yeah.
So I'll send him some Falcons gear. Never seen him in it though. But, you know, they out in San Diego. But he just wait. I'm going to go to San Diego. I'm bringing all them loud toys because he's still like 3-4 years old. I'm going to take all the loud toys I can get so he can make as much noise as he possibly can make. Okay. I'll be with you guys in just a second. Better check her out. Yeah, strawberry cheesecake popcorn. I own a gourmet popcorn shop called Uncle Renz, R-E-N-Z, popcorn. We ship online. I'm getting ready to convert this store to an online store. Now, just to let you know, young lady, I'm negotiating somebody to take over the lease here. And when they do, they'll still wholesale popcorn in those bags, and I'll still sell it at the popcorn shop. But also, if you have like special orders, you'll be able to go online and order it online.
Okay.
But you'll pick it up down there.
Okay.
Like I said, employees don't want to employ there. And then ever since that Amazon thing opened up around there, all of them want $20 an hour.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no way I can facilitate $20 an hour. So,
Right.
and plus I like cigars, and I want to focus on that
Okay.
and my whole YouTube life.
Right.
And I like life. I want to have some time to myself. In about a year, get the big RV and live my own world tour life.
What?
See, y'all got them kids.
Yeah.
My kids are adults, so I don't play y'all little games. And it don't end.
I know.
My kids are grown, but who got to pay for them to go to Puerto Rico next month, and then who's paying for them to go to Virgin Islands around Christmas?
Right.
Me.
I'm
I'm grown
never
jokers.
ends. I'm not even set myself up.
And the bills change. Like right now, they want like $20. No, my daughter called me the other day. Like, can I get what she wanted? Like $8,200. Yeah, they hit you once or twice in a year, but they don't be small stuff. All right, y'all have a good time. All right, thank you very much. Let's see what I missed. I appreciate y'all patience. Maybe thinking of any more questions. Got that part. Thought. Agree so true. Exactly. All right. I know I missed out on some stuff. That's my life right now. I got to run two businesses at the same time. There's so many other books. Right, there are so many other books, and then there are tons of books that weren't included in the Bible. One of my favorite grouping, the library, was the non-commodity library. Gospel of Thomas and the Gospel of Sophia, Secret Writings of Peter and James. Those are some of my favorite ones. The Gospel according to Mary Magdalene, the Apocrypha of Adam. There are so many books that are left out. Those books were left out because they didn't fit what the Romans were trying to conduct. You know, what they were trying to establish by taking over, well, first, turning Christianity into a government rule religion, is what Constantine was doing. And then establishing it as the only religion of Rome under Theodosius. You didn't know about the pig bones? Yeah. The pig bone thing was interesting because most people who read the Bible just think that since the time of Noah and the writing of the laws of Leviticus, that you didn't. Well, actually, you know what? I misspoke. If you actually look at the flood, when the flood was over, Jehovah told Noah, just like I give you all the foliage, the vegetarian stuff to eat, I also give you every animal. And he said every animal. I want you to think about that. In Genesis, Noah is told that he can eat every animal. But then Leviticus, which was written relatively at the same time that Genesis was written, which gives you an idea that two different groups of people were writing these books. Leviticus then gives you the eating laws, which makes me think that the northern people of Israel wrote Genesis, whereas the southern people of Judah wrote Leviticus. And both of them was written around 1400 BCE in that time frame, both written relatively at the same time. So it had to been written by two different groups who had two different thought processes. Because if it's the same writer, they're not going to write in Genesis after the Noah flood that you can eat every animal, but then the next book, Leviticus, flip the script and say that you can only eat these animals. That doesn't make any sense unless it was being written by two different groups of people who had two different ideologies. And if you look at the northern kingdom of Israel compared to the southern kingdom of Judah during that time frame, around that 1400 through 500 BCE, they had two different ideologies when it came to what you ate. And most of that was culturally based and propaganda to go against the Phoenicians and the Philistines. But the northern Israel people were eating pig bones, where the southern people of Judah were eating pig bones. Were eating pig when the southern kingdom of Judah were not. And when archaeologists looked at these two areas that were alive at the same time, that's what they see. And so it gives you a deeper understanding of why things were written and what was written. Strawberry cheesecake popcorn. Yeah, like I said, I have a gourmet popcorn shop. 3K baby. The popcorn shop is in Stone Mountain, Georgia. 3 doors down from the Cigar Lounge. 5385 54 Strickland Road, Stone Mountain, Georgia. But you can go to the letter U, the letter R, the word popcorn.com, and you can find the website. But yes, I actually love the Gospel of Thomas. Gospel of Thomas really opened my eyes back in, when did I first read that? I read the Gospel of Thomas for the first time. I was on ship. I was in the Marine Corps. I was on ship with the Navy. That Desert Storm of Bosnia. I think it was Bosnia. So that had to be around 91, 92. Yeah, around 92 time frame that I read the Gospel of Thomas for the first time. You know, and I immediately identified what the problem was, why they didn't like the Gospel of Thomas, other than the fact that it was being read predominantly by the Gnostic Christians down in Egypt. But in the Gospel of Thomas, it equates, it has Jesus equating men and women as equal. That you can't see the kingdom of heaven, can't know the kingdom of heaven until you make men and women equal. And then he said something to the effect that when they didn't want Mary around for something that they was doing, and they was like, I will make her into a man, I will make her just like you. He wasn't saying he's going to make her into a man. And he was telling them that they have to see women as equal. It was really just trying to say that you got to get your masculine and your feminine energy in balance. That when your masculine and feminine is out of balance, you cannot see the kingdom of God. I mean, you can't understand how the universe works unless you get your masculine masculine and feminine energy in balance and understand how they work. Because the seventh law, Hermetic law, is the law of gender, which states that no creation can happen without gender, without a balance of gender, without the feminine and masculine energy. You can't birth or nor create or manifest a damn thing. What are those energies identified? Masculine energy is identified as masculine energy is the logical, instructional energy. Feminine energy is the growing and nurturing energy, the emotional energy. Most men walk around trying to be devoid of emotion. Most women walk around overwhelmed by emotion. Both need to find a balance. Just like Mufasa. I love Lion King. Just like Mufasa. He knew how to go out there and kick some ass, but he also knew how to be loving and nurturing to his children and to his wives. Right? Scar, on the other hand, was all masculine. He just wanted to dominate. He had no idea of how to utilize the nurturing aspects of being the alpha lion. It's the same in us. You get a man in a relationship and he's all just, I'm a man, I'm, machismo and all that bullshit. He doesn't know how to nurture a family. He doesn't know how to nurture a wife and raise his kids up to be balanced individuals. The flip side of that, you get a woman who's just so emotional and have emotional outbursts on every damn thing. She doesn't know how to teach her children or how to teach her children to go into a situation where they got to use just their logic, their mind to critically think through things. And right, you got that on both sides. You got men who are overly freaking emotional and women who are overly freaking masculine. It is really finding that balance. That is the idea of the esoteric idea of Adam and Eve being two separate beings. When you read the Apocrypha of Adam, the Apocrypha of Adam talks about how Adam was one, was unified. But it was the demiurge, it was Jehovah, the evil God, that split man into masculine and female, into Adam and Eve. And because of that split happened, man lost his power and ability to be able to manifest and be like God, And you're never going to be as God, but be like God. So, and that's how the demiurge was able to continue to keep man from recognizing who he really is in his divinity. And be able to overpower and overcome this matter form reality of the demiurge. This is why Buddha was telling you have to end all suffering. Because when you end all suffering, and that's an internal thing, it's not that you're not going to have bad or negative things happen to you in your life. But when you can end all suffering, means internal suffering, because you can look at a situation, give it what emotions it deserves, but also give it this logical thought that it's deserved, not one overwhelming the other. Something bad happens in your life. Look at it for what it is. It may be something for you to learn from. It may be something for you to overcome. Or it may be something for you to live with and just have to work through it. but don't over emotionalize it to the point that it sends you into depression. But don't over analyze it to the point where you get stuck and don't do nothing, or you become devoid of all emotion and become an asshole. You know, but people don't. That's the struggle. That's always the struggle. Talk too much, cigar goes out. I hate relighting my cigars, by the way, because when you relight it, you have to get past the fact that you have to burn some tobacco, and I'm in the second third of it right now, which is where the coffee and the dried fruit notes come into play with a little sweet tobacco. And it ain't sweet like candy, so I don't want y'all to go out there and start smoking cigars thinking they sweet like candy, although there are some out there like that. Okay, so Victor, you said 3K once and 4K the second time. I don't know what that means. Which is funny because there was a guy that told me I never say I don't know. Okay, I don't know what that means. Take it through your nose. That's when you can really get that coffee and earth and a little bit of leather. Yeah, a little coffee, a little cocoa. Oliva. Y'all did y'all thing on this stick. But, 3,000 likes. Got it. I'm still learning a whole bunch of this stuff about social media. There's always something new to learn anyway. But yeah, well, who is that? I can't even read it. Glue? Yeah. If you read some of the other. I don't know if you've read, because I hate when people tell me, you need to go read this without asking me first, have I read it? But go read some of those other Gnostic writings, and you'll see Christianity. You'll see the way things move in a totally different way. You'll get some esoteric understanding that's totally different. You know, like when it talks about, I think it's the Gospel of Mary Magdalene or it's the Secret Writing of Peter. It's one of those two that talks about, you know how like in Christianity they say when two come together, I'm in their presence, or when two come together with no seed, no doubt, whatever they tell the mountain to move, the mountain will move. And in one of the Gnostic ones, it says that when a husband and wife comes together, then they are the most powerful. That's the most powerful energy that you can have, and they can move any mountain. But if you take that a step further, the husband and wife of yourself, your masculine and feminine energy that is within you, when you marry yourself, I've been writing this book for 5 years. It's not going to be a long book. It's about relationships. But one of the first things I say in the book is you have to say I do to yourself. Right? I do to me. You have to marry your masculine and feminine energy so that you have balance. And then in that way, you become the marriage. And then you individually can be more powerful. And you can move the mountain. Then the goal after that is to be with somebody who is in the same, not that you got to grow them to that they're in the same vibration. And then the two of you together become like ultra powerful. Now you can grow with somebody and help somebody get there, but if they're not doing it for themselves, it's not going to work. They're doing it for you as well. Tell me about the ring on your left hand. Okay, this is my left hand. This is my right hand. I know sometimes these videos flip them. All right. Yep. You're a Marine vet. So am I. All right. So there is no help. But yes, I am a 32nd degree Mason. And that's what this ring is. This is my 32nd degree Mason ring. This is just I forgot what this material is made out of. This is an energy protection ring. And then this is my Anubis ring, the Egyptian god Anubis. Leads you through the bowels of the underworld. Because in Egypt, the underworld was heaven. So you have to flip it in your mindset. You can't look at it as the underworld as evil, because the field of reeds is in the underworld. Osiris reigns over the underworld, over heaven, and it was called the underworld. But Christianity and other religions flip that to mean heaven up above. But yeah. Just started reading the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. I'm telling you, read that thing like 50, 11 times. Read it like 50, 11 times. Oh, yeah. Now, Masonry, a lot of people take Masons are out here to conquer the world, rule the world. There are people in every organization who is out here doing negative things to try to conquer everybody. And in their mind, they're not trying to conquer. In their mind, they're trying to make the world better. Some people are out there just out for themselves. That is not what true Masonry is about. And even when I meet Masons and they're talking about, it's about charity, it's about charity, it's about charity. No, the hell it's not. It's not about charity either. It's about charity to your fellow Masons and their family. It's about that when it talks about charity, it's about charity to their fellow Masons and families. True Masonry is about understanding, it's good men becoming better, and it's about understanding the deeper mysteries of the universe. That's what true Masonry is about. And that is the only reason why I am a Mason, is because I want the deeper understandings of the true mysteries. Just like Pythagoras spent 20 years to get into the mystery schools of Asia and the mystery schools of Egypt, because he wanted the true understanding of how the universe works. And so he went to Egypt to go learn these mysteries, because at that time frame, Egypt held the mysteries. And those mysteries, according to the Egyptians, came from Thoth the Atlantean. So they came from Atlantis and the Lemurians. And those mysteries came from the Anunnaki, which is why the Sumerians talked about the Anunnaki. But them jokers weren't all good either. They did some messed up stuff as well. Every being that is in the matter form in our reality is going to do some messed up stuff. If you understand the law of correspondence, as above, so below, even in the next plane of existence, there's going to be some messed up stuff. If you don't accept that, then think about it in these terms. How can there be a war in heaven if everything in heaven is supposed to be great? Anubis. Yep, I love Anubis. Okay, I kind of recognize the Masonry. My mom was an Eastern Star. Oh, let the sister shine. Let the sister shine. Do you think Jesus did the same thing, going to different schools? Oh, I most certainly do. Here's the thing about, they call those years between 12 and 30 lost years of Jesus. And even though the infancy gospel of Thomas talks about those lost years, archaeologically, if you look at where Nazareth, Jesus is supposed to be a Nazarene, right? You look at the town of Nazareth. Now, according to the story, they left Nazareth. They went down to Egypt. He spent time in Egypt. Then they came back to Nazareth, right? So, if you went down and understand, Joseph was not a carpenter. But even if he was a carpenter, but he was actually a stonemason. The stonemasons of old are the original masons in Egypt, the builders of the temples and the pyramids in Egypt. The English people took it over after it was lost for several hundred years. But they were the original stonemasons. So Joseph, because the reason why he was able to just leave and go from country to country without any problem, because Masons had that ability. Their craftsmanship was so desired in every country that they were the only people. They were one of the only people who could traverse countries without having a passport, so to speak. Masonry was their passport. That's why there is a thing in Masonry that we call it our passport. So when he would have got to Egypt, he would have gotten in with whatever type of lodge they had there in Egypt. When he came back to Nazareth, he would have gotten with whatever lodge he originally was with. Also, the reason why I say he was a stonemason, he was in Nazareth, is because it has been shown that Nazareth, very near Nazareth, was a Roman stone quarry to which he would have worked out of. Right? Well, he would have more than likely worked out of. So Jesus, as a young man, would have grown up learning the craft. So he would have learned from Masons. He would have learned Masonry, the ancient Masonry, the ancient Egyptian rites. He would have also, in that area during the Roman time, they found Buddhist temples and Hindu temples. So he would have also, I know they got this whole thing about Jesus going to India, but he would have also had the ability, can't say he did, had the ability to have been around the Hindu teachings and the Buddhist teachings, which those teachings actually originate out of Egypt as well. Through their trade, those teachings would have traveled out of Egypt, and that masonry trade, that craft understanding would have moved from Egypt to India, which is why their temples are very similar, and their crafts are similar. So he would have been exposed. He could have at least been exposed to the teachings of Hinduism, Buddhism, Egyptian rites, Egypt, as well as everything else that was around them. The Babylonian teachings would have still been there. The Roman, the Greek. He would have been exposed to all those things. So it is my thought that Yeshua would have been a Mason who sought deeper understandings, perceived it on a higher level than most, because I know I got brothers in Masonry who, man, they still on the basics. I know brothers who've been Mason for 7+ years, and they still on the basics. Nothing wrong with them. They apply it to the best of their ability, because not everybody learns the same way or can conceptualize things the same way. To each his own at whatever level they're at. But I think people like Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, scholars agree was a historical character. Yeshua was a historical character. Now, does that mean all the miracle shit they was doing is valid? No. It just means that there was somebody that they based those stories off of. I think they were an exceptional student, and somebody who put that information, who was able to conceptualize the information and put it out in such a way that the old guard didn't like, but the people who are open, ready, like the Hermetics says, in the Hermetics, it's, and people that need to understand the full saying of this Hermetic saying. We always like to say a little bit. We say that when the student is ready, the master will appear, right? In the Hermetics, it's when the ears of understanding are ready, the lips of the master will be open. But when the ears of understanding are not ready, the lips of the master is sealed. But it also says, when the ears of understanding are ready, or really ready, the lips of the master become sealed again. What that means is that if the people aren't ready, the masters don't speak. When the people are ready, the master speaks. But then once the people are coming into understanding, the master seals his lips, because now it's up to those who are now in understanding. They become adepts, for them to think through things on their own and not just follow the master, not idolize the master, not deify the master, but to recognize that they too must become masters through critical thinking of their own, which most people, even the ones that sit in pulpits and the ones who are imams and all this, they don't get that. They still want to be dogmatic over the people instead of letting the people grow. And not everybody's going to grow the same way. You know? I need a sip of my coffee. So you hit the coffee, then you smoke the cigar again, and it hits real nice. This is why the Hermetica is one of my favorite readings. I actually put down every book for like 5 years, and all I read was the Kabbalion and the Hermetica, like over and over again. And then I read books like Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. If you never read that book, you should go read that book. It's a great book. Most people who are Christian can't get past the first part of it because he has to call the devil your majesty, and then he gives a justification for that. So they can't deal with that. Instead of just, get past that, man. Read the damn book and get an understanding of it. Come on now. I need some more questions and statements because I've been sitting inside there, with a few people earlier today. I decided to come out here and enjoy some beautiful weather. When them jokers want to show up, I'm not going back in there. After the Carnival, the Caribbean Festival in Atlanta, I want to see the people with the plumes and the feathers come out. By whom? I'm assuming you're talking about the books. The Kabbalion, it just says it's written by the three initiates. By the three initiates. You can find many different publications of it. I think it's now like, I forgot what you call it when a writing is free for everybody. Like anybody can publish it. But just look up the word, the Kabbalion. The one I like is a little bitty black book. It's black, got a little symbol on it with the triangle with a circle around it. The Corpus Hermeticum. I don't know whose version of that I've read. I can't tell you the author. I looked up Corpus Hermeticum and I would buy or download multiple versions of it and just read all of them, which are pretty much the same. The only thing that's different is like author notes. Outwitting the Devil, that's written by Napoleon Hill. He actually wrote that book in 1938, but his wife didn't want him to publish that book because she felt like he would get demonized by everybody, which he would have back then because America was heavily Christian. So out of that book, he watered it down to write Think and Grow Rich. So many people think Think and Grow Rich was his first book. He actually wrote, the first book was 16 Laws of Leadership. Then he wrote Outwitting the Devil, but his wife didn't want him to publish it. So then he took that and he wrote Think and Grow Rich. Which is why if you read Think and Grow Rich and then you go read Outwitting the Devil, you'll see elements of it. After he died, it passed along to his wife's nephew. His wife didn't want him to publish it. So then after he died, then this woman, Sharon somebody, who was over his organization, she published it in 2011. So he wrote it in 1938, but it didn't get published till 2011 because of out of fear, right? But even though it has some old stuff, you can tell it was written a long time ago, it is very appropriate for any time whatsoever. Yeah, but check out those books. Those are some great books. I also still read the Tao on a consistent basis. What do you think about the Prophet of Khalid? I don't know who that is. Yeah. The name doesn't ring a bell. I can say I'm gonna look it up, but it'll be some time before I get there because I'm reading. Got that book I'm reading. That one. So I already got 5 books lined up that I'm reading in order. So I'll look and see if I want to add that book at 6. So I'll go read some reviews on it and see what it's kind of get a synopsis of it. But right now there are 5 other books in front of it, plus the rereading of other books I do. And y'all just throwing books out here that y'all making me feel like I don't know some stuff, which is awesome. Awesome. I love finding more and new information. Because the book of, I would say when you turn 50, but my eyes started going with me when I was 12. What about the book of Urantia? I don't know that book either. But what are those books about? If you can give me an idea. Victory Gray Star, and I don't know if I'm saying Glue. Yeah, that's how I read it. Glue 762. What are those books about? If you give me an idea what those books are about, then I may be able to speak on it, but not directly to what they said. It's deep, but what's the subject matter? Like, what's the actual subject matter that it talks about? Because that makes a big difference as to what I read. Because I have a line of thought that I'm focusing on right now, so I have to see where it plays in there. One of the books I'm rereading is The Lost Book of Enki. Just want to get a lot of people are asking me stuff about the Anunnaki, and I read Zechariah Sitchin's stuff like 7, 8 years ago, 10 years ago. I read some of his papers before he put his book out. And that was about 20 years ago when I read some of his papers. So I'm rereading it to remind myself. It's called The Prophet. The start of the universe to Jesus dying. Okay. That would be interesting. I like to see how other people conceptualize how the universe began. I don't see the universe as having a beginning. I do subscribe more to the Big Bang, Big Crunch theory, the singularity theory, instead of a just a poof theory, meaning that the entire universe is created in the mind of the all. But the way that the universe was created in the mind of all started as, not so much started, but all energy was, if you have a thought, I'm sitting here right now, I may not have a thought about something, but then all of a sudden, poof, I have a thought, and that thought just sparks a creation. So I believe that the all, in the infinite mind of the all, this universe was a creation, like it was a start. And it started through science and math. And that creation started as energy, because all thoughts are energy. And as that energy is first coalesced all together, and then poof, that thought being the singularity of energy that burst, and then the universe begins. And then it goes through because it exists, energy exists both in the spiritual and the matter plane, it begins to take forms, and entities are created. Planets, galaxies begin to create themselves. Because as you begin a thought, like when I thought about the cigar lounge, I walked into a cigar lounge and I was like, damn, this is great. I didn't know you could have a cigar lounge. And it was like, poof. I imagined my own lounge. And I imagined what it would look like and the furniture and all that. And then as I put it together, I started changing those thoughts and having different furniture and a different setup, and until it became what it is. And then as it's original, it evolved into something else. Like right now, the seating and everything is not how I originally set it up. It's changed, and it changed based on the people who were coming. The humidor wasn't originally a humidor; it had to be built, and then I imagined how it would be, and all these things. The imagination kept growing and growing and growing. In a similar way, the universe just kept growing and growing and growing, because change is the constant of the universe. In about 8-9 months, I'm expecting the person next to me to move out, and then I'll change again and take their space and rearrange everything in here to be a big ass humidor, and then the lounge on the other side. So it's a continuous evolution of change. And I believe the infinite mind of the all works in the same way. It created by having a first thought, and then that thought just evolved and evolved and evolved. As far as when Yeshua comes into play, Yeshua is an avatar that understood more, not everything, but more of how this universe is created. But he can only understand, if you look at his writings, he can only understand based on what the culture that was around him and the information that was around him, right? Because if he didn't, why didn't he say something about ending slavery, that no man shall own another man? Why didn't he push the narrative about, equal rights and fair rights for women, or women owning land, not based on having a son or having a husband, but them just owning land. There's so many things that we have high moral ground on today that they didn't have back then. So why didn't he say anything about having a higher moral ground that we have today than that people had back then? Why didn't he say something about armies not having the right to just come into another nation and control and take over those people? He didn't say anything about that. And of course, Christian apologists would say, "Oh, well, he said love your neighbor as you love yourself." You can't use, that's a blanket statement that you can't use to explain away everything that he had the same high moral ground we have today. You can extrapolate it and say that, but people don't do it. They still think they should divide and conquer people. Oh. What did I miss? In the beginning, the start parts of God, and it does. Yep, I'm gonna have to read that one. Wait a minute. That was Victor's book. That was the Urantis. What we got? An illustrated story about the weight of man's heart. Essentially, talk about the ways of man's heart. One of the books in line for me to read again is what is it called? Something of One. I can't remember exactly. Something of One. But it's supposed to be a guy talking to Ra in an interview with Ra, and he talks about that the fourth density. I always say dimensional, but the fourth density is you can only reach the fourth density when you understand the heart and love in its truest form. Man, it's for somebody on every level, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm no better than anybody else. I just read a lot, study a lot, and I just have an innate ability to be able to see patterns. Like I don't know how it happens. I don't know when it happens. I don't know what it is about me, but I can read two different books that really didn't have much to do with each other, but I can find the connecting pieces that some people can't see. But we all have our talents, but the heart and how we behave, and then somewhere in the question. Okay. Thank you. I like talking, so I'm glad that you like listening. I do love teaching. I love talking and teaching. I got that joke in the orange shirt. She's gonna ask me why I'm not a professor at some college. It's because I don't want anybody telling me what I have to teach. You're not gonna. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna add your book. Can't say when exactly I'm gonna read it. Knowing me, it'll probably be a couple of months from now. Oh, The Power of One. That's that book called The Power of One, I think. Where it talks about the different densities in his interview with Ron. And I hope I can remember. I think that's when I started learning. No, that's not when I learned about the Ogden. I can't even remember The Power of One, most of it. I just remember the actual densities and what gets you to the different densities. Like Yeshua exists on the fourth density, is what he was teaching, but what Buddha was teaching is like seventh density stuff. It's like something like that. Like what Buddha was teaching was at a higher elevation, a higher density than what Yeshua was teaching. You know, and it would make sense. Yeshua was teaching up here. Buddha was teaching up here, but Yeshua had to bring it down a level for people to understand it. It's just like opening your chakras. You can't open your third eye if you haven't opened your throat, heart, power, sacral, and your foundation chakra. It might be open a little bit because you got a little bit of energy flowing up, but until you open all of those chakras, the third eye never really opens. Which is a lot of what Dr. Strange is in the Multiverse of Madness is trying to tell you. Plus, you go with the Kabbalic tree of you got to go through the die-off in order for you to truly understand and open your third eye. And that's that dark area. So a lot of people call that shadow work. Oh, you have a connection issue with your phone. Gotta get that good internet, girl. I don't even know if you're a guy or a girl, so let me not say girl. My apologies. But gotta get that good internet. Yeah, I mean, that's my goal in this life is to not come back again. Ooh. Look, I love animation movies, so I'll make comments based on animation. And I don't know if you've seen Madagascar, when you got King Julian in there. It's like, ooh, a woman. A woman. You didn't know, I didn't know we was talking to a woman. I am a big child at heart. I am a big ass child. Before I had kids, I used to actually steal my friends' kids to go watch animation movies so that I didn't look crazy like some pedophile stalker. So I would steal my friends' children to go watch animation movies. Now that my kids are adults, I either make my kids go with me or I'll go steal somebody's child and we're going to go and watch an animation movie. But yeah, when King Julian was talking to, I think that was the third movie? No, the second movie. When he was like, ooh, a woman. I didn't know he was talking about a woman. See, let me tell you what you do. You're going to go up to her, right? You're going to walk right up to her. You're going to look her right in the eye. And you're going to tell her how much you hate her. Y'all thought I was serious all the time, didn't y'all? Y'all thought I was one of them guys who's always serious. But no, I'm not. So you do the same thing, go steal some kids? Yep. Oh, the Big Bang? Yeah, but the Big Bang, I like to just call it the singularity because it's like we can see this in the universe right now. We've seen where a collapsed star creates a black hole. Is it going to create a white dwarf for a black hole? That black hole becomes so dense and the gravitational pull is so strong that it pulls everything in, light, matter, everything. But then once so enough power is in there, then it explodes out and births a new star and a new galaxy. And it'll expand until it can't expand no more based on the power of the explosion. Then it all contracts back. That center of the galaxy brings back everything into itself. The same way that the Gnostics talked about the Pleroma. The same way the Kabbalion, when you read the Kabbalion, it's going to talk about how we all have come from the all as parts of the all. But at the end, we'll all return back to the all. So it's like we expanded out from the all, but then we will contract back to the all. So it's talking about that same singularity, that same Big Bang theory of expanding out, and we are the different planets and comets and asteroids and stars and everything that expanded out from the universe, out from an exploding star. But at some point, it all retracts back, and we all go back to the consciousness of the Creator, and we all come back to that, and then the cycle happens again. Enough contraction, matter and energy, and then it explodes back out again. What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Oh, man, I'm doing wonderful.
Good.
I thought you were going to have your bike out here today. When I tell you going to bring mine by.
Nah, I ain't riding today, man. I had some stuff to pick up this morning.
Oh, okay.
All right, simplify, devil dog.
Yeah, so fine.
Yeah, you might be all right.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know, hey.
You wearing that Marine Corps tag on you. You might be all right.
Hey, but see, look, I'm on the square, though, so. You know.
Oh, and you on the square? Shit, you can walk in. Let me greet you properly then.
Hey, see, I ain't got my ring on today. See, like, that's why you ain't noticed it.
In the light and the dark, bro.
There you go.
In the light and the dark.
See, I got the back of my bike lit up.
Yeah, mine is too. I see you driving that old damn fix-it-up tricycle over there.
Yeah, right.
The Harley Davidson.
Hey, you know what? I give you that.
Yeah, that fix-it-up tricycle. Sorry about that. You out?
No, I'm just checking out.
Yeah, go look at that tricycle. It's a common thing. I ride a Gold Wing. So I got to pick on these Harley Davidson tricycle bikes they be riding. Your wife doesn't understand that I don't want to. She don't want to come back. Look, I don't either. I've lived enough lifetimes. I've had enough experiences. I remember 3 of those, and this one, this was a pretty fair life. If I do have to come back, I wouldn't mind remembering this one. I've had my ups and downs, but this life feels like it's not my most balanced as far as masculine and feminine energy is concerned, but it's my most balanced as far as mental energy. I understand my mental energy, emotional energy, and sexual energy. Those are more balanced in this lifetime. So even though my heart was more balanced than one of my other lifetimes, this one is more balanced overall. So I plan to remember this lifetime if I have to come back. I don't plan on it though. You know, the first time I remembered a lifetime, it wasn't even something I was trying to do on purpose. It's something that just happened. You know, I was going through a ritual. I was learning Ifa, actually. I was learning about Ifa at the time. And I was going through a ritual. And within that ritual, I went into such a deep meditative state and I had astral traveled before, but this one was like a time. You know, like I had astral traveled before to my younger self. And I know in the Power of One, where he talks about the different densities, it tells you that some of the times when you astral travel, you go back, when you have visions of guardian angels and all those sorts of things, that's actually you in the future coming back to teach you something. But, you know, I've done that before, and I went back, even I traveled in the past to tell myself something, to remind myself of who I used to be. You know, I had lost myself for a while. I got into this mode where I was trying to please everybody, and I was pleasing people to the detriment of myself. And I went back and I saw my 9-year-old self. He was in the backyard of my grandparents' house, and I was hovering over this big oak tree that I used to hang out in when I was a kid. But I was on a bicycle in the backyard, and I looked at my younger self, and all he did was look at me, and he told me, "You forgot who you were. You forgot who you were. Remember who you are, but you forgot who you were." So after that, I stopped trying to please people. Well, it took some time. You don't say I started immediately. It took a little bit of time, but I can see the evolution of my life from that moment back in 2017. Yeah, 2017, when I started not trying to please people so much. Even my videos were different back then because I was trying to make sure I didn't insult people in those. So I did that then when I was first started learning about Ifa. So I did that before. Then when I started learning about Ifa in 2018, and I was going through a ritual after a reading, and that's when I traveled. That's when I saw one of my previous lives, and that previous life, and a lot of men would never admit this because they're so masculine, but I was a woman living in Harlem. It's the child in you, it's the real you. Yep, I would agree. But I was this woman in Harlem, married to a dude. It's like a matriarch over the town, over the area. Like you know, like back in the day, there was always this woman and this man. They were the matriarchs and patriarchs of a community. And I was like this matriarch of the community, but I was very rebellious. Like I wore pants. This was back in like the 1940s. But I wore pants. I can see her face. I know exactly what she looked like. One day I hope to find a picture and see this woman so I can identify more who she was. But I knew who she was. I can see her face. I can see it right now. Very loving relationship, but very patriarchal, very rebellious. You know, helping black people get their shit together in Harlem at that time. In that small community. Wasn't really trying to do anything big. Very free thinking woman at that, which was like taboo as shit in the 40s. Then went and did an ayahuasca ritual about a year later. And I'm gonna tell you, you do a real one, God damn. That total body purification that you got to take yourself through for like 2 weeks, you're gonna throw up and shit like nobody's business. Your body will be clean. In that one, I traveled. One of the things that happened during that ritual is that I traveled back and I was around the um, around 1100, around the 1100s. I was this Chinese medicine man. And I was an asshole though. I was so consumed with healing everybody and taking care of everybody that I didn't take care of my family. You know, had a wife, but I was always in the mountains. I was always studying plants, and, trying to heal the community through natural medicines. But I wasn't a nice guy. I was an asshole to my family, even to my people I helped. I was an asshole to them too. Very isolated. You know, would go up into the mountain for months and be by myself. And then through a deep meditation, no rituals, just a deep meditation. You know, I traveled back to in and around 1800 BC. I mean, not 1800, sorry. That's something else. Something else that popped in my mind about that one. I traveled back to around 4000 BC. And at that time frame, I was a Kushite. Wasn't Egyptian. I was Kushite. Kushite priest. And I had a priestess wife. And but I was also like a lieutenant colonel in the military. So I went out and waged war. But I was indoctrinated to the mysteries of the Kushite mysteries. And my wife and I ran a temple in what would now be southern Ethiopia, close to Sudan. And me and my wife talked. We taught people how to unify their heart, their masculine and feminine energy, but also had to go out and fight wars. So I remember that. Sometimes these people be racing up this street so that they don't have to. The streets merge right up there, so they be trying to race each other. And it seemed like everybody got loud cars. Like when I bought my Mustang, I didn't want a GTO because I don't want that damn noise. But anyway, that's why I don't ride a Harley, all that damn noise. So you did a whole 1,000 likes. I appreciate that. But yeah, so I remember those 3 lives. I'm sure that there are many, many, many more lives. You know, Siddhartha said that when he was sitting under the Bodhi tree and he came to his enlightenment, he remembered every life, thousands of lives that he had previously lived. I'm looking for that. I want the thousands. You done already?
Oh yeah. I'm not. You know what? My 2 of my grandsons just came over to the house and wow, there's a pistol. So I already know I can't stay long. I'm gonna have to go home and help my wife. Pitch them kids back and forth and everything. I tell her just beat them and make them sit down somewhere.
Yeah, I was gonna say, take your foot, put it on their back. No, I just went.
Hey, that's what we feel like. For real, that's what we feel like doing sometimes. Because we already raising 4 grandkids from like my older daughter, that passed away.
Right.
So,
that's understandable.
Yeah. And then so now my son, he just brought his 2 boys over there.
Uh-huh.
So now we got 6 of them in the house.
6 grandkids in the house.
Yep.
I'm only 50, and I told my kids, if y'all make me a grandfather before I turn 55, I'm fighting every last one of y'all. That was also to their benefit because they're 26, 22, and 21. Mm-hmm. They don't need to have kids right now.
No. Let me see. Well, like my youngest son, he just had some kids like last year, and matter of fact, he had a set of twins, a boy and a girl.
Cool.
So they're like a year and a half. So like that makes me have 8 grandkids total.
More power to you, bro.
Yeah, hey, you know what? I just feel blessed. I love seeing my family multiply, But I don't need all of them over at the house at the same time, though.
I understand.
Yeah.
That's why when I first get them, I'm getting a big ass RV and I'm gone. You have to find me to keep the kid.
That's what I told my wife. I said, my son, he said he on his way over. I didn't think he gonna get it so quick. Matter of fact, I passed him coming in the neighborhood. As I was leaving out, I said, man, I said, well, I ain't gonna be able to ride for long then, because I know she gonna start blowing my phone up. And I left it on the bike, so she probably didn't hit it twice already.
Probably have.
Yep.
But don't let me hold you up, bro.
Yeah. All right, Square, you take it easy, man.
You too, Square. Travel light. I'll be riding tomorrow, though.
Yeah, you know what? I got a ceremony to go to tomorrow morning, but then after that, I might be back out.
I'll be out here. Mine will be parked in my spot.
All right.
I've had many out of body experiences since a child. Oh no, you know what? That's like the beginning. Having the out of body experiences is like the beginning of being able to travel into the consciousness and into the, as the Hindus say, into the Akashic record, to be able to see those past lives. I can't tell you. I don't know how it happens. I don't. All I know is that the more and more you open your mind, the more and more you open your consciousness, it'll just happen. It'll freak you out a little bit. You'll just swear, oh, it's just a dream, or I just imagined it. But that thing will feel, but it's a knowing that you'll have. You'll know the difference then between a dream or a vision, and it's a knowingness that comes into play. And when nobody, that's why I don't like Harleys, all that noise. And nobody can tell you anything differently, like, because it's just something that you just know that you know that you know. You know. What's up, man? How you doing? Good. You know, and it's kind of like when you have the out of body experiences. Some people say, "Oh, you just had a dream." It's a knowing. Like dreams, you forget. You can forget a dream. Like I have dreams. I dream every night, and I forget. Most of them that I dream. You know, as soon as I get up, though, I try to write them down, but I forget most of them. But those out of body experiences, those journeys, recognizing my past lives, and the thing about it, when it's a past life, you're not just seeing a person. It's like you know how when you look in the mirror, you know that that's you. Like I'm looking at this video and I can see me, so I know that this is me, and it's a knowingness that you are embodying that person. And then you just know that you know that you know, and you just know, and you feel, and you know that, and you even know the different personality that is within that person, because you'll have a totally different. You'll be that person, but you'll know that you're that person, but you know you're different because you have a different personality than who you are right now. But then you'll see elements of that person in you. This is why, like the Akashic record of you being that every ancestor you've ever had is within you. It's a deeper understanding of that, because having those ancestors, like I can see traits of my grandfather. I can see traits of my known ancestry. I can see those traits. I can feel those traits. But it's knowing a trait from somebody you never met, but you know it's you. They said water. They said water before you go to sleep, and not move when you wake up. It helps to move. It does. But still, write it down. Because as you go throughout your day and you try to remember, it becomes hard. And you gotta, like when people ask me to analyze their dreams, I tell them I need to know every detail. What color was the wall? What color were you wearing? What sounds and smells? And the more of that stuff you remember, then the more you can recognize. The more that's more information that belongs to the dream. The more it can tell you about what's really going on. Like when we look at chakras, when a person tells me they were going through something, and they tell me the emotions they were having in the dream, but also if they're wearing red, then that tells me that emotion might be based on fear. If they're wearing yellow, then it might be based on pleasure or shame. That's orange. Sorry, orange. If it's in their power chakra, then it's yellow. And so if the walls were yellow, or they was in a yellow car, then that may represent their power or their guilt the shame that they may feel. Guilt is down in your sacral chakra. I'm messing this all up. So guilt is in your sacral chakra. So the guilt. And then you can understand that guilt comes from outside, from other people. Shame comes from inside, what you've allowed yourself to feel shameful about. So all those kind of little things matter in the gym. What things you were smelling, makes a difference in the dream based on everything else that was happening within the dream. So you want to, and I know I'm using a lot of filler words like so and like. You have to, as much as that information that you can provide, the better you can break the dream down and get its truer meanings out of it. Oh, that one's done. So those are the kind of things you want to do. What's up, man?
You open?
Oh yeah, we open.
You want to get a couple? Hey, John.
Having to drop you off and everything, huh?
We just left the party, so.
Oh, you're not hanging out with us?
No.
Okay.
Actually, we're headed to Will Henry's. We got a buddy that's band's playing there.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
But I haven't been by. Just want to
Yeah.
get a couple.
I'll talk about you too.
All right.
Wait, aren't you a member? Okay, there's another member who looks like you that signed up as a member, and then we ain't seen him since. Doesn't he look like one of them? Do you remember? You know what? Shut up. I can't stand these people sometimes. They mad because I'm out here shooting a video. I don't care. It'll be all right. That's why hold on. That's what business owners do. Huh? That's what partners in business do. They just hook stuff up, handle stuff. I like picking on that joke. You think that just because I'm the majority owner that I'm supposed to do all the dang on work shit, doing all that. But anyway, I'm about out. Plus, the Caribbean Festival is about over. Well, the part that my people would have went to. So they're gonna be piling in a minute, as well as people from the Jazz Festival are gonna start piling in a minute, and then we're gonna be watching this Davis Ramos fight tonight. I think the NBA should be starting if they got a game tonight. So I guess I gotta go here and do some damn work. But I appreciate you guys. My goal is to start doing more and more lives. So I don't know if you can do this on YouTube. You can hit a bell icon and let you know, notify you when people go live. But it'd be cool if you guys could do that. But it'd be really cool if you can go to my YouTube channel, which is my name, which is LARENZOREID. So my name is Lorenzo Reed. If you can go over to my YouTube channel and subscribe over there, I would greatly appreciate it. There are going to be some lives that will only be, well, I can't say they'll only be done there because I'll probably do them here too. But for the way I want to live my life in about 10 years, just traveling all over the place, whether in RV or country to country. Appreciate you, man.
All right. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again.
You didn't leave me. It's a good time.
She ain't leaving? She needs you to do some housework. That's why she ain't leaving. But, and I mean, I just want to live my life on social media when I'm older because I love teaching. So please go over to the YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the bell icon. I don't know if there's a notification thing on TikTok yet. Oh, I see what you're talking about likes. There's like 5,900 likes on this video. Cool. But I love to keep. And of course, on YouTube, if a person hits they do the heart comment thing. I forgot what it's called, but a heart comment. Any questions, anything that a person wants me to talk about from there, definitely would get a video. Definitely get a video on YouTube if you do the heart thing. Because there's a lot of people who ask me questions on TikTok, and I ignore half of them, especially half of them that are like they don't serve a purpose to grow the people. So I'll ignore those if it's just a constant circle of conversation. Like if you believe in something and that's your belief, I'm fine with that. Stay there. I ain't trying to convince nobody nothing. As I said, these videos really are for my kids, so that when they get older, if something happens to me or for generations, they can always come back and grab my wisdom. grab my knowledge. They have to make it into wisdom. They can only get my knowledge. But yeah, go over to YouTube. Appreciate it. I enjoy talking to you guys as well. So y'all have a good one. And on YouTube, I always say, you got to free yourself to be yourself. Because your greatness is non-negotiable. Deuces. I know how to close this thing out.